One of the questions, was, what advice would I give to anybody who is in a 9 to 5 and looking to come out? And I just point blank said, stay in your 9 to 5. Unless you really have the passion and the drive, and more importantly, I think the self belief, then it's just not something that you should go into just because it looks glamorous on Instagram.
Larren, welcome to the show. I remember the first time I met you at there was this conference put on by First Global Bank, as SME conference at
Not Court.
Knutsford Court.
Right.
Yeah, and you sat beside me and we spoke and you gave me a card. Yeah, that was the first time.
Oh, sorry, I have horrible
No,
memory.
no. That's I have a good memory, so that's my
Okay,
curse.
yeah,
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But that's the first time we met,
Okay.
and I didn't understand much about your business right at that point. Since then, I've gotten to know a little bit about it. But why don't you tell us what your business is about?
So BlueDot Data Intelligence, we are a market research / data intelligence, data mining, analytics. There's this famous marketing guy in the 50s. He had this whole conference about, or a whole series of talks about what business are you really in.
Right.
So I've defined that based on feedback from our clients, and what we're in is confidence. That's the business that we're in, meaning we provide or allow our clients to make decisions confidently with data and insight. So yeah, we're everything data, everything insight. Any decisions that our clients need to make that can be backed by data, we hope to provide that and try to provide that.
I love that. And that goes back to something that Tony Robbins says from time to time. He's like, you need to know what business that you're in, and you need to know what business you're really in.
Right. In the same way, Nutsford Express, they're not a bus company.
Exactly.
They provide comfort and safety and peace of mind, rather than logistics.
So for you, this is your first company that you started?
My first legitimate registered.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
As in the first non-hustle.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean everything else was just a hustle. I used to put on parties in Mobay, where I'm from. Had a couple of other side things that I used to do. Stuff that didn't necessarily work out, or I didn't put enough effort into at the time for it to work out. So yeah, so BlueDot is definitely it right now.
Do you think that there are some people who naturally gravitate to entrepreneurship and when others don't?
Yes. So, I mean, I think there are two spectrums. There is those who gravitate towards it out of necessity. Your 9 to 5 not paying you as much as you think you need or you need. And then there are those who just have a natural affinity and call into it. My opinion is that it's not for everyone. I have to be a little bit of crazy and have a lot of grit for this type of stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely want to jump into that. So you mentioned two types of people who get into entrepreneurship, the necessity and the people who naturally gravitate towards it. Which one are you?
I think I'm a little bit of both, but more so the natural affinity to it. I think I've always been ambitious, but I procrastinate and I'm, a lot. So that is why it took me 13 years working for the man to step out. I mean, I won't discredit that experience though. It was, it's really helped me to get to where I'm now.
For me, I was working in corporate for 8 years, out of school, got a job working there.
Right.
And I was always going in and out of this idea of starting a business. I'm going by my experience.
Right.
But it wasn't until I came out of that experience, out of that full-time job, that I realized what entrepreneurship was really like.
Right.
When you have to depend on yourself to get everything moving, it's a different dynamic from, okay, you know what, I have this safety net.
Right. I did an interview yesterday for some TV show, and one of the questions, was, what advice would I give to anybody who is in a 9 to 5 and looking to come out? And I just point blank said, stay in your 9 to 5. It's not easy unless you really have the passion and the drive, and more importantly, I think the self belief. Then it's just not something that you should go into just because it looks glamorous on Instagram. you and I are to blame for it, and every other entrepreneur we're to blame for it, because we don't share all of the hardships and the struggles as much as we should. Me on my IG, you see the flying, like I travel often for work, so you see that, but I don't show when I'm stressing over payroll, I'm trying to collect checks, or employees stressing me out, or clients stressing me out. For PR purposes, unfortunately, I can't disclose and display all of those things. I don't want my clients to think that I run in a party shop, right? But I think we're to blame for that. I think us as entrepreneurs, we should really go into the struggles and the challenges more.
Yeah, not to worry. We are going to get into that today. So let's take it back though. I want to get some of your background, because you were a friend of someone who's been on the podcast before, Andre Burnett.
Right.
Two were Monroe Old Boys.
Bubble.
So like, what was that dynamic, and how do you think that shaped your entrepreneurship life?
The thing about Monroe is that on boarding school is that it kind of forces you to grow up very quickly. Or at least be independent and not dependent on your parents for everything. You're practically living on your own at a young age. So, I mean, I'm very grateful for that experience. As a result of that, I think I was a little bit too rebellious. So I started to not get along with my parents. I found a job in Kingston. I was 16 and I applied for the job and moved to Kingston. Told my dad I'm leaving. He said, "Boy, all right, if you think you're a man, go on." And I left and I moved to Kingston at a very young age. Started working, made a whole bunch of mistakes, got in a lot of debt, tried business stuff then, got in a lot of debt. It took me a while to get over that. It was not a pleasant first maybe 8 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when did the hustling start?
I've always been trying to do something, but without the effort and the focus.
Right.
Fortunately, unfortunate for me, I think up grand ideas every single day. So that's my one true talent, I would say. I'm like an idea generator. So I'm always like, I get excited about it, put some effort into it, and then like the goldfish, something else happens. I think about something else. And
shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, shiny object syndrome. Something else grand comes up, and then I move on to that. But never fully stick into it and put in the effort required into it for it to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were the multiple things that you did at the same time, the hustling?
I think the first legitimate thing that could have not been a hustle or could have turned into a business that I tried was I started a company called GoPay in 2004 or 5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The plan was at the time to have bike men ride around with PDAs to the bill payments.
Yeah.
So if JPS was at your house cutting the light off, then GoPay would just appear, and you can pay your bill right there. Funny thing about that experience was that like the proposal, I paid somebody to write I borrowed a loan. I took a loan to pay somebody to write the proposal and the projections and everything.
Yeah.
Right. Cold called the people at like JPS and Cayman Wireless. I remember at the time the CEO of Cayman Wireless, he had this call-in program. I think his name was Rodney Davis. He had this call-in program where the public could just call in.
Right.
So I pitched it to him on radio. And he said, "Yeah, man, come and meet with me and whatnot." I think the mistake that I made at the time was that I went into that boardroom by myself.
Yeah.
As a very young, green young man. Before all the correspondence was great, wow, we love this. This is going to revolutionize bill payments, because at the time it was just bill payment and Bill Express, and the internet wasn't, there wasn't like online bill payment and stuff at the time. So I went in and like it was just got cold after that, so that never took off. I tried the text business, the bulk text message business, with some friends of mine, a whole bunch of different.
Well, something similar to that. I was recently judging an entrepreneurship competition at UA,
right.
And one of the guys pitched this idea of a bike messenger company.
Right.
And everything sounded great until he started talking about his projections and his costs. And then you realize, and I've made that mistake in the past as well during my different business days, of saying, here's the cost of a bike messenger,
right.
but I'm not factoring in the payroll for the people who will be answering the phones, the light bill, and all of these things. Like he's saying, oh, it's going to cost you $250 to deliver the package, but that doesn't consider all the costs that he has built in. And I think that's what a lot of businesses know who are starting are falling short. So you did this first, then you started working for 13 years.
Yes, I've always been
all right throughout.
All right throughout, been working.
So at what point did you decide to leave and start BlueDot?
2013, all of 2013. So I've been I literally grew up at the company, right? Because I was there from early, like where I'm family with all of the employees, with the bosses, the CEO, the COO, like we're just family, right? So I rose through the ranks. And 2013, I decided I was going to go hard, do everything I'm supposed to do. Because for me, I don't know for anybody else, but in a 9 to 5, the one thing you look forward to is bonus, Christmas bonus. So you go hard for the whole year, hope your bosses notice, and you get a nice little reward at the end of the year. It's what I was looking forward to. So, and I was a manager then. I was managing people. I was entitled to 4 weeks bonus or a month's bonus, and Christmas came and I got 1 week, and it just completely like shattered me.
Right.
I was completely demotivated. I remember I was reading 48 Laws of Power at the time, and one of them has something to do with it's not despise a free lunch, but it's essentially saying don't depend on another man's bread, right? So I decided at that time that another Christmas wasn't going to catch me at the company.
Yeah.
Right. I had to step out. I had to do my own thing, and just be in control of my destiny, of my own bread. So that happened. And then it took me 9 months to quit. There's a whole lot of uncertainty, a whole lot of self-doubt, a whole lot of, can I actually do this? Is this the right thing? Then, there's the traditionalists, the traditional family members, our friends who just believe in the 9 to 5, that's it, why would you step out? The economy wasn't going good at the time either. I remember printing the resignation letter the morning, September 1, and like literally shaking while I was taking the paper out of the printer and walking up the stairs to my boss at the time. I started crying from I got to the top of the stairs, and just handing it in there was just so much uncertainty and fear, and I have no qualms in saying I literally just bawled, and she started bawling, and it was an emotional experience, because this is like that's all I knew. I literally grew up there. Outside of high school, I went straight in. I didn't do university, so I just started working, and that's what happened.
During those 9 months, so you said you went through all the doubts and all the fear of, okay, suppose it fails, I'm walking away from all of this. Right. What made you then decide to just hand it in?
I started to get business, and I saw where I could survive for 3 months. And I had to give myself 3 months to make it. Or 3 months to at least be able to pay my rent and my light bill and internet, and maybe eat if possible. So it's not, I didn't have 3 months in savings, but I know I had 3 months worth of business that I could possibly get.
Right.
So so that's what happened.
So how was what was that shift? Because I mean, you got the business, you said, okay, now I have a little runway of 3 months, but did that eliminate the fear of?
No, because it was still uncertain. It was still uncertain. So what also happened was that I connected with Kimala Bennett from the lab, which is actually how I met Andre. And she had she was already integrated into the marketing space, into the marketing world. So we formed a partnership, right? So Kimal is actually a shareholder in BlueDot. But I saw 3 months worth of projections or projected business that I know I could actually, pay myself a little bit of money in order to survive for the 3 months. But after that, it was completely uncertain.
That's amazing. That's how these stories start. And I think that it says a lot for you to still have all the uncertainty, but dive in anyway.
Self-belief is the most important thing. It took me 9 months to build up that self-belief. I still feel daunted. I'm still daunted every day with all the plans that we have. I still have doubts every single day. I think that's a part of the process. But if you truly believe in yourself and the product, then the best way of proving that belief is stepping out and doing it.
Yeah, man. I used to be so naive when I had a 9 to 5 because I used to talk about entrepreneurship and starting something on the side while you're working.
Yeah.
Where you're working full time, and I used to say, I don't know where I got it from or why I decided to say it, but I used to say it's riskier. It's going to be riskier and riskier to maintain a 9 to 5 than to start your own business because things are changing so rapidly in the 9 to 5. You just like with your experience with all of a sudden you're expecting a bonus and only 1 week came, one week came.
Right.
Like that's devastating. That you can't bank on a 9 to 5.
Right.
But then since switching over now, I realize how naive that entire thing is.
It's super risky. I think though that right now in Jamaica, I've never been more hopeful and see as much opportunity for business. No, I think the economy has turned around.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just anecdotally look at like if you try to go somewhere for lunch today, it's full. All the restaurants are full at night.
Yeah.
The bars, etc. So there's definitely money going around in the economy. And then also from a business and investment standpoint, you do have a lot of older people with money who are looking for non-traditional means of investing now.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm very grateful for. Actually, there's there's a post that I made on my what's Google's social media platform?
Google Plus.
Google Plus, like 6 years ago. The post was, or the question was, why are there no VCs or angel investors in Jamaica? But no, that would be relevant because there are people out there who are.
It's not where we want it to be.
No, it's not where we want. Yeah, the ecosystem is much better than it.
Yeah, for sure.
Or much further than where it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pleased to have a lot of technology-based businesses on the podcast, but I'm pretty sure that like 2010, when the economic crash occurred, we wouldn't have had these businesses coming out.
No.
So. Yeah, we are getting ahead in entrepreneurship, and we're growing the economy for sure.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about the future. I see a lot of opportunity. I see a lot of room for growth, not just here, but also in the region, which we're heading in, where we've headed into the region now, against many naysayers as well. But there's just a whole bunch of opportunity that we're taking advantage of.
All right, let's talk about that. Let's break down for me BlueDot, the technology. So you say so there are two parts to it, right? There's a data science part and there's ads, right?
It's two companies. There's BlueDot Media and BlueDot Data Intelligence. BlueDot Media, that is our first product, has been the adverts in the ATMs. That was another idea that I sat down on for maybe, 7 years. Told it to Andre one day, and Andre was like, "Yo, let's do this," and he made the connections, and that's how it started. So that's what happened with that. And then for BlueDot Data, full research, full data, where we've been very technology focused. I kind of have a background in IT, or I read a lot. I go to a lot of conferences, so we're in two spaces, or three spaces. We do traditional research, which is going out with tablets to collect data for clients. That's kind of our bread and butter right now, which also includes neuroscience, consumer neuroscience, which is essentially trying to figure out what emotional motivators are in consumers. So emotions drive purchase habits, right? It's based on this it's not even a theory anymore. It's a proven theory of what they call thinking fast and thinking slow, which is System 1 and System 2 thinking.
And this book is by Kahneman.
Yeah,
What?
David
Or Daniel? One of
Daniel
those.
Kahneman.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, so you're familiar with it?
I heard about it. I haven't read it yet. I heard about an interview with Paul Brunson a few months ago. Yeah.
Right. So essentially, system one thinking are the decisions that you make automatically without thinking. So that's thinking fast. So that's like if you get frightened, you jump, right? System two would be you making a logical decision when you get frightened as to what to do.
Right.
So the premise of that is that 90% of all purchasing decisions are made subconsciously. So, and the problem with traditional marketing and traditional research is that all of the marketing up to this point has been to the system two brain.
Right.
You know, the logical.
Here are the benefits, here are the features, instead of getting to the emotions, which is thinking one.
Which is system one. Right. Example is, you know, like if price was really what drove purchases, which is a logical decision, then the demand with the lowest price would always win.
Yeah.
That's never the case.
You wouldn't have luxury vehicles, wouldn't have fancy homes.
Exactly. So there's a lot more context and emotions and motivations and, you know, like just predispositions that individuals have when they're making purchase decisions.
How do you capture that?
So we use biometric technology.
Okay.
So we monitor heart rate, pulse, skin response, galvanic skin response, which is essentially sweat.
So like you take a tablet, or you go out, or do you have people come in like a focus group?
In both, we have. So it can be in a controlled environment. It doesn't have to be in a controlled environment. But we just monitor physiological responses to stimuli.
You strap things on to them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Right.
Interesting.
And then we do eye tracking as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, for example, in a supermarket, we can tell where people are looking at on shelves, or what packages or what items they're seeing from what they're not seeing. So it's a more scientific approach to data, to
that
research.
Is super dope. So like, tell me. So that one you said is your bread and butter. Which one of those projects are you most proud of right now?
So I'm most proud of that because that is what has actually, you know, you should always have some competitive advantage. You know, if you don't have competitive advantage, then you only can compete on price. Most interestingly, we're assessing a commercial that a client was about to put out of their call center, right? And that call center, in that shot, it was like a pro call center type ad that they were putting out. And in that shot, there was a scene or two scenes with a dreadlocked CSR, customer service rep. A Rastaman, right? Every time the camera panned on the Rastaman, the negative emotions in the video went up. Because we do what's called facial coding, where we monitor the 32 muscles in the face. We know if your right eyebrow twitches, it means something differently from your left eyebrow. So we know what emotions are being evoked while respondents are watching, in this case, a TV commercial. So unfortunately, we had to, you know, recommend that. You know, for some reason, Jamaicans don't think that a Rastaman should be a CSR. So, you know, they need that. Yeah.
That's what the results
Right. So they had to edit that scene, you know, and replace it with a more positively, emotionally engaging scene.
And overall, that ended up with the ad being more emotionally engaging.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And this is Jamaica. This is happening in Jamaica right now. So I guess this is where you probably started with in 2014.
So we didn't start with this, but I'm making an effort to go to conferences every year to see what's out there.
Okay.
Right. And to get new technology, acquire new technology, get new experiences, find out what's new, and then try, if we can afford it, to bring it back.
Which came first then?
So we were doing traditional research. So we're still a little bit ahead because we're the first company that started using tablets.
Right.
So we're giving real-time results. Typically, a survey takes 4 to 6 weeks for the client to get the report. The technology that we use, our clients get a running report from the first submission.
Right.
From the first questionnaire submitted, they get a URL with the data. Right. So that gave us some advantage in the early days. And then I went to this conference in Atlanta in 2015, which I'm going to next in 2 weeks again. And I saw this technology, the biometric technology and the eye tracking, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I called my some friends at the time and I just asked them to Western Union me some money. It was in Atlanta. I had to borrow money from them, and I bought the technology and brought it back because I just really believe that this was what was going to like give us further advantage.
Yeah. So I think one of the advantages of having or owning the system that you own is the ability to collect aggregate data on a wide amount of people. Are you able to say what kind of trends you're able to, or insights you're able to gather from that mass collection?
So we'll be publishing a report very soon.
Awesome. I want to give me the link so we can put it up on. So.
Sure. But the interesting thing about research is that if you're a fan of psychology and understanding people, I'm in a unique position to know what people are thinking on a en masse collectively. And even the trend spotting, So to all the investors out there, that's why you should invest in us, because we know what the pulse is, or the consumer pulse is before a lot of people do. So and like in a focus group setting, you really get to hear what drives people and what their emotions are. And, it's been very interesting. So we have the research side, and then now I'm building out the data side, because that is the future. We want to be the leaders in anything data related in the Caribbean. So I'm extremely excited about that and daunted at the same time. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, to really building that out.
So what's the next frontier for that side?
Well, the next frontier for BlueDot on a whole is that we've started to expand into the Caribbean.
Right.
So we now have presence in Barbados and Trinidad.
Awesome.
I think outside of the commercial opportunity with going into Barbados and Trinidad, I wanted, from a more social aspect, if that's the right word, to show Jamaicans that you can step outside of Jamaica and into the Caribbean islands that you think don't like us.
Yeah.
So there's a perception that Bajans don't like us and Trinis don't like us.
Yeah. That
might be slightly true, but not in my experience. You still get 2 additional questions when you go through customs, right? In Barbados or Trinidad. But I think that there's a perception that they are unfriendly, and unwelcoming. Fortunately, I have not experienced that as yet, because of the value that we're bringing. So that's the other thing. So if you're bringing enough value to offset whatever perceptions or malice that they might have, not just in this case these 2 islands or 2 neighbors, but even here in Jamaica, because bad mind is a real thing. Value can usurp bad mind, right? So our strategy is, so I read this book called The Sharing Economy, and my strategy for the rest of the region is to partner, to use existing infrastructure. And what I mean by that is it's essentially the Uber for X model, or the on-demand economy model, where if we were to go into, say, the Bahamas by ourselves, we'd have to rent office space, build relationships, hire staff, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Versus going into a country and partnering with an existing company, who have existing relationships, existing infrastructure, giving up some equity or giving up some revenue, but you get the presence and you get an additional revenue stream.
So I do want to jump into also the struggles and the like I said, the things that we don't often talk about.
All right.
Because I can tell you, from my experience so far, you can let me know if it's different over time. It's a grind. It's really a grind, and it's really a daily exercise of showing up and just running flat out, like trying to run a sprint 100, 24 hours a day.
Right. On that note, I think one of the challenges that I have now is that I can't vent.
Okay.
Right. I can't complain about having to work so hard, because I'm the one that chose it. Nobody wants to hear that. I chose to be ambitious. I chose to be running 3 companies now in 3 different countries, and tripling my responsibilities and emails that I need to send, and just things I have to pay attention to. I want to cuss and I want to complain.
I think you're allowed to do.
But to
at least
like maybe we need to form an Entrepreneurs Anonymous group, because I think a lot of people go through that.
Absolutely.
But who you going to cuss to? And you can't cuss because
you can't cuss the employees.
No,
that's definitely
definitely no. But we chose this.
Yeah.
But it's long nights. It's losing sleep. I mean, if you I have a healthy fear of competition.
Yeah.
So I'm super paranoid all the time. I believe that there's some little youth who is hungrier than me, who going to come and eat my food every single day.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's just there, him outside waiting on me right now. So I lose sleep over that almost every night. My sister, who is a dentist, she had to create a mold for my teeth because I grind my teeth every single night, and because I'm just paranoid. There's just always somebody who out there ready to eat your food. I met somebody the other day who I'm just fearful of. I don't want to buy him out now or hire him, if I can.
Yeah.
Because if not, he's just brighter, and that's just the truth. And the problem is that the millennials are going to disrupt the stuff that we're doing now.
Yeah.
Because they grew up in this, the Gen Y and more so the Gen Z that are coming up now. They're just going to disrupt everything that we're doing now unless we stay on top of everything. I mean, it's innovate or die.
It's true.
So Jeff Bezos talks that, says that Amazon is a startup, and I have that mentality, and I hope to never drop that startup mentality.
Yeah.
But I'm super paranoid, super paranoid. I'm always wondering or just ready for the Me Too's to come up.
Yeah. So we covered a couple books already. You mentioned Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, and you mentioned The Sharing Economy. Who the author was for that?
I don't remember.
Do you have any other books that you've read that you'd recommend to other people?
I think the first one that comes to mind is 0 to 1.
That's Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
Yeah, I mean,
good. Despite his political affiliations.
Already before all that stuff came out, so
that's
pretty unbiased.
A brilliant book, and especially for me because I'm always trying to have or to be so competitive that there's almost no competition.
Yeah.
And that's really what 0 to 1 is about. It's about having that idea or that business that somebody can't take a solution off the shelf and replace you or compete with you.
Yeah. Me personally revere all of the guys from the PayPal mafia. They're talking about Peter Thiel, Musk, the guys who went outside YouTube and all these other things, and the LinkedIn guy. And you're like, but when you think about it, it's no different from a BlueDot, where these people just stayed in and just kept innovating and just kept growing and just kept digging in, and every day showing up. The same things that we're talking about that's just not glamorous. They just never stopped doing it, even when the economic collapse and all those startups went belly up.
Right. I mean, I think, like I said, I'm very, very optimistic for what we can do. So we have a very bright data scientist on our team now. He's like deep into AI, and we're doing some really cool work with artificial intelligence now. And that's just the future. We're trying to close an investment round now. We're almost there, and when that happens, we'll just take things to the next level at that point in time. And I'm super excited about that, and hopeful.
How can people connect with you on social media?
So that's funny. Of course, the BlueDot is Instagram is BlueDot_JA. And I think Twitter and LinkedIn is there, BlueDot Data Intelligence. My personal IG handle is Manishwater.
Tell me about it.
No, I'm laughing because I tried to get corporate the other day.
Yeah, I remember that. It didn't go well.
It didn't go well, so I changed from Manishwater to Larren Peart, and Andre and everybody else actually created a campaign to get me to switch back to Manishwater. After about 2 weeks of having Larren Peart, I felt restrained and shackled. I couldn't just post random foolishness. I had to be like corporate Larren. So it lasted about 2 or 3 weeks, and I switched back to manage water. Yeah.
So that's where people can find you on Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to see what I'm up to, I post most things on under managed water, which is something I've struggled with because I'm innately like completely introverted. My persona on social media is as I imagine everybody needs to be, not my actual persona.
Yes.
I'm very public, and I just post random stuff. But I'm naturally very private and introverted, and yeah.
Does that give you a challenge when running a company of your size, and where you planning on going with it?
Yeah, because I've had to step out of my comfort zone so many times. It's in and of itself is a struggle. So like, the story I posted the other day, the Instagram story I posted about just going to the GMA Expo, and going around to every single marketing manager that I could and just pitching to them.
Another thing we don't talk about, like sales, like. You have to go out and sell if you want to keep your business off the ground.
You have to,
you and I are both introverts, and so it's an extra challenge to just go out there and get something.
Mark Cuban says sales cures all, and it's true. So like, I complain about cash flow. Like, we're having cash flow issues right now because, unfortunately for us, all of our clients are larger companies who have like 60 and 90-day payment policies.
Right.
I can't tell my employees or the
I'll
interviewers,
I'll pay
90 days, right?
Yeah.
So we have those challenges, but if we had enough sales, incremental sales, then or what we're focusing on, we're about to launch a cash cow or a lower hanging fruit, I should say, that should help us to offset those challenges. But sales cures all, and as introverts, you have to be ready with that 2-minute elevator pitch or that 1-minute elevator pitch all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people like they say that they can't network and they don't know anybody, but listen, I think you can go to CPJ for 1 week and sit down.
That's true. Just sit down out there, yeah.
And just see who you need to, and just like, you must buck up into somebody or see somebody true. And just like, sorry, can I get 2 minutes of your time? And in my experience, most people are willing. Most people will hear you out at least.
Yeah.
At the very least.
So for somebody, I know you got this question yesterday.
Right.
For somebody's thinking about starting their business.
Yeah.
What do you think that they need to know before they dive in?
I'm not sure if it's so much about what you need to know, but like I said, it's what you need to believe.
Yeah. To have that passion.
Yeah, it's what you need to believe. It's what you need to. You just have to believe in yourself, and just be ready for the challenges, and just have grit and not be thin-skinned. Get ready for the no's. Get ready for the. I mean, it's such a roller coaster. Like, in any given week, we'll get sorry, we've chosen somebody else for this project, and we'll also get congratulations, you've got this project.
Yeah.
It's just such a roller coaster, and then you just have like those other like just life will happen in your personal life. Just things will happen. In 2016, I lost my best friend. She was also working in the company in BlueDot. And she was my number one cheerleader.
Yeah.
Like that one person who, no matter what, said, "Yo, Larren, what you do?" Like, shut up, work harder. That was her.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she died suddenly, and it was like completely floored not just me but the company. Like, we probably haven't recovered from that.
Yeah.
I haven't recovered from it, but the company is just now recovering from that. So, like life happens, and then you have to deal with that. If you have a family, you have to deal with that outsider that, and then bad mind is real.
What I want to do is I want to acknowledge you. I mean, you have a pretty decent business. I love the idea. We could talk about the technology behind that for days.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to go really far, and I appreciate what you're trying to create in the world. I'm not trying to come to Jamaica and trying to create in the world, and I'm glad that you're doing it here and inspiring lots of people while you're doing it. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks, and thanks to you for the showcasing us. And I hope that a lot more entrepreneurs will be inspired from watching your podcast to just step out and just do it. Just start.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.